The sun was sinking behind the red Arizona cliffs when Belle found herself limping through the dusted trail, hand pressed to her ribs, breath shallow from the long run. Coyotes howled from the shadowed hills, and the scent of desert sage lingered in the cooling air. She wasn't meant to be out, this far alone, not with outlaws, roaming free and every creature in the west hungry after sunset. But she had no choice. Someone had to get help, someone had to survive, and survival had never been something Clara expected. Her breath trembled as she stopped near a broken fence post, gripping it for balance. Pain shot through her side like fire. The bruise was deep, those men had made sure of it. She'd escaped by luck, by miracle, or maybe by the whisper of some guardian spirit that watched over lost souls. Dust swirled in the wind. Hoofbeats, slow at first, then stronger, closer. Clara's heart hammered. Friend, enemy, outlaw. She didn't even have the strength to hide. The rider appeared like a ghost from the dusk. Tall, broad-shouldered, carved from shadow. A black horse, muscles gleaming, snorted as it stopped before her. The rider tipped his hat back, revealing a jaw like sculpted stone, eyes the color of storm clouds settling over a quiet sea. "Looks like you're dying on your feet." "Ma'am," he said, voice deep as canyon thunder. Clara tried to answer, but her knees buckled. The stranger lunged, catching her before she hit the ground. His touch was firm but gentle, too gentle for a man built like a mountain. "You're hurt." I can walk," she whispered, but her voice cracked, trembling like a fragile leaf. He shook his head. "Not tonight, you can't." He lifted her easily, like she weighed nothing. Her ribs protested sharply and she gasped, clutching his shirt. "Go slow, it hurts," she breathed, barely audible. His grip softened instantly. His lips brushed her temple so lightly she wasn't sure she imagined it, and his voice dropped to a reverent whisper. "I'll die before I hurt you." Her breath hitched. Something inside her cracked open, something she had locked away for years. This man, this stranger, handled her as if she were something precious. Not broken, not ruined, not used up by fate. Who are you?" she managed. "Name's Cade Walker," he said, carrying her toward his horse. "And you're safe now." Safe, she hadn't heard that word in years. He mounted with her in his arms, settling her gently in front of him. His arms caged her protectively, not trapping her, but shielding her from the world. Her head rested against his chest, and she felt his heartbeat, steady, strong, unshakable. "You're freezing," Cade murmured. "Stay close." She didn't have the strength to argue. Didn't want to either. As Cade guided his horse through the darkening desert, Clara felt herself slipping into a strange, unexpected peace. For the first time since the outlaws chased her from her wagon, she believed she might live. And for the first time in her life, she believed a man might care whether she lived at all. But danger wasn't far behind. And Cade Walker wasn't just some wandering cowboy. He was the one man those outlaws feared, and the one man they wanted dead more than her. Yet holding her in the dark silence of the desert, Cade made a silent promise. The desert night wrapped around them like a velvet cloak, cool and slow, the only sound the steady crush of hooves on hard earth. Clara clung lightly to Cade's shirt, each breath stinging her ribs, but somehow the pain felt manageable with him there. The world seemed quieter in his arms. Even the fear that had been digging into her bones since the chase finally loosened. Cade rode with the confidence of a man who knew every rock, every shadow, every mile of the land that stretched endlessly ahead. His posture was relaxed but ready, like he was always listening, always measuring danger. Clara sensed it even without seeing his face. "You're safe," he whispered once more, as if reading the tremble in her breath. "Ain't no one gonna touch you again." Clara swallowed hard, her voice still raw. "You don't know what they want. Those men, they'll come." "Then let 'em come," Cade said, his tone sharpening like a blade. "I've been waiting on men like them my whole life." She lifted her head slightly, catching the silhouette of his jaw under the moonlight. Strong, unmoving, he spoke like a man with more scars than stories, more losses than victories. But his arms, God, his arms felt like a wall built to keep the world out. After a long silence, he finally asked, "Tell me your name." "Clara," she murmured. He nodded once. "Clara, pretty name." His voice softened, warm like campfire heat. "How long were you running from 'em?" Clara tightened her fingers around his shirt. "Since noon, they attacked my wagon. I tried to fight, but..." "You fought?" Cade's voice rose in respect, not surprise. I hit one with a skillet, she whispered. A low chuckle rumbled in his chest. Good, hope you dented his damn skull. I tried, she said, almost smiling. But then her smile faded as her memory sharpened. Flames, shouts, rough hands, her little traveling trunk thrown onto the sand. Those men laughing like hyenas. Her heart picked up speed. Cade felt it. She didn't know how, but he felt it, the change in her breath. The way tension crept back into her body. Don't think on it now, he said, his hand brushing her arm softly, steadying her like one would calm a frightened mare. You ain't alone anymore. Clara blinked fast, fighting tears she refused to let fall. She hadn't cried in years. Crying was a luxury for people who had someone to run to, someone who'd hold them up. No, maybe she had someone. After a long moment, she whispered, Why are you helping me? Cade didn't answer right away. The horse climbed a gentle ridge, and then the land opened, revealing a small cabin tucked beside a narrow creek, firelight glowing through its single window. My mama raised me to never leave a hurt soul on the road, he finally said. And besides, he tightened his arm around her ever so slightly. No woman deserves what you went through. Her throat tightened. No one had said something like that to her ever, not without wanting something in return. As they approached the cabin, Clara noticed how carefully kept the place looked. A chopped stack of wood to the side, a saddle hanging neatly on the porch railing, a lantern burning low like someone was always waiting for him to return. He dismounted with her still in his arms, refusing to let her put weight on her injured side. She felt his muscles shift under her, strong and warm. Her breath hitched again as pain shot through her ribs. Easy, he murmured, slowing immediately. I got you. I'm sorry, she whispered. You don't apologize for hurtin', he said, his voice deep and quiet. You didn't choose this. He nudged the cabin door open with his boot, carrying her inside. The room glowed in orange firelight, casting shadows across wooden walls and a simple bed in the corner. Clara expected him to set her down, but instead he paused, studying her face, really looking. You're shaken, he said. It's just cold, she lied. He didn't buy it. Gently, carefully, he lowered her onto the bed. The mattress dipped beneath her weight, soft with old quilts. Cade pulled a blanket from a chest and laid it over her legs, his hands working slow so he wouldn't jostle her ribs. You're gonna be all right, he said, brushing a loose strand of hair from her cheek. His fingers paused at her jawline, and for a heartbeat, one long, fragile heartbeat, they simply looked at each other. Clara suddenly realized how close he was, how warm his breath felt against her skin, how his storm gray eyes softened every time she winced. She swallowed. Cade, those men, they said they'd... I know what men like that say, he interrupted softly. I've put more than a few in the ground. Her eyes widened. He stood slowly, removing his hat and running a hand through his dark hair. You ain't in their hands no more. Long as I'm breathing, they won't touch you. Her chest tightened, not with fear, but something else. Something she hadn't felt in a long, long time. Why does it matter to you so much? She whispered. Cade leaned down just enough that his shadow covered her like a protective cloak. Because you're looking at me like no one's ever protected you before, he said gently. And that ain't right. Her lips parted, words caught in her throat. And Clara, he tilted her chin slightly, careful as if she were made of porcelain. I ain't the kind of man who lets someone hurt what he's sworn to keep safe. Her breath trembled. You barely know me, she whispered. Cade shook his head. Don't have to, he said. Sometimes you just know when someone needs you. Clara looked away, heat rising in her cheeks. I don't want to be a burden. You ain't, he said immediately. His voice was firm, almost protective. You're a reason. Her heart stopped. A reason? A reason for what? But before she could speak, he stood and moved toward the table, pouring water into a tin cup and grabbing a cloth. I'm gonna clean the bruising, he said quietly. But I'll go slow, I swear. Her pulse fluttered like a trapped bird, because she believed him. More than she had believed any man in her life.